This is going to be the tutorial that's going to show you how to make these crocodile stitch fingerless gloves. And for this tutorial, all you're going to need is a skein of yarn, and then this was a full skein when I started, and I made the full set using them. And you're also going to need a 5mm hook or a size H hook. And the yarn that I used is 10 ply for Australia or 4 ply for the US. It's horse weight yarn. So get those items and let's get started. Okay, to begin, you want to chain 24, and you want the chain to be, springy. You don't want the chain to be too loose, and you don't want it to be too tight. So just try to get it as not loose, but relaxed. Try to get it as relaxed and uniform as you can. And I am using 24 chains because that's what it takes for me to be able to get my hand through it. But if you have skinnier hands, then you may want to start off by doing 20 chains instead of 24, because this the crocodile stitch is done in multiples of 4. So make the adjustments however you'd like. And once you have the proper amount of chains, then you want to make sure that your chain is not twisted, and then you want to slip stitch into the beginning chain. And then chain 1. And now working in the chain, make sure again that it's not twisted. And I'm going to be working over my tail. And I'm also going to be working under both. Let me see if I can see it on camera here. See, as you can see, there's 3 sections in each chain. I'm going to be going under 2 of them. So I'll have 2 on top and only 1 on the bottom when I'm making my single crochets. So you're going to go into that first stitch where you slip stitched into, and you're going to go right into that same stitch, and then in all stitches around, making sure your chain is not twisted. So continue this around, and I'll see you when you get back up to the beginning. So when you get done, make sure you count your stitches and that you have the number of stitches that you chained. This first one, remember, is your chain 1, and then you go right into the first single crochet that we did. So you're going to skip this chain 1 from the first round, go right into that first stitch of the round, and you're going to do a single crochet. And what I do so that I don't have to mark my first stitch is I just go ahead and just count as I go. I am supposed to have 24 stitches, so I'm going to crochet all the way around till I get my 24 again, and then I will show you what to do from there. Okay, I just got my 24 single crochets done, and now I'm going to slip stitch into that beginning stitch, and then you want to chain 3. Then going right back into that same stitch, you want to do a double crochet and chain 1. Now you want to skip a stitch, and then the next stitch you want to put a double crochet and chain 1. And then again you want to skip a stitch, and then in the next stitch you want to put a double crochet, chain 1, and then in the same stitch you want to put a double crochet and chain 1. Again, skip a stitch, and in the next stitch you want to put a double crochet and chain 1. Next stitch, skip a stitch, and then in the next you'll put a double crochet and chain 1, go right back into that same stitch and do a double crochet, chain 1. And you'll repeat this pattern over and over again. First, let's see, here we have the 2 double crochets, and then we have a single. Then we'll have 2 double crochets and then a single. And this is how you'll continue all the way around. So You'll always have a skip stitch in between, and you will always chain one after you do a double crochet. Even when you're doing these two in the same stitch, every time you do a double crochet, chain one, then double crochet, chain one. And then you'll be skipping a stitch, going right to the next, doing a double crochet, chain one. Skip a stitch, going to the next. You'll be putting two double crochet, chain one into the same stitch, and double crochet and chain one. Then again, skip a stitch, double crochet, chain one. Continue this all the way around till you get back up to your beginning stitch. Okay, when you get back up to the beginning, you have the chain 3 here, and you want to slip stitch into the second chain, not the third chain. So find the second chain and slip stitch. Then you want to chain one, and now we're going to start our scales. And what you want to do is on this chain, the post of this chain that you have here, you want to work 5 double crochets. And when I say the post, it means you want to grab up that post. So first you want to yarn over, then grab up that post and do a double crochet, and that's 1. You need to do a total of 5. So going under the post again, 2, 3, 4, one more, 5. Now as you can see, each of these sections have 2 sections. We work 2 double crochets and chain 1 in the same stitch. So we just worked along the first one. Now we need to work on the other one. When we do the double crochet, it brings us down to the bottom, and now we need to work ourselves back up to the top again. So we're going to be working our double crochets but going up now, and it helps if you turn it slightly like this and then push up that post and grab it, and then yarn over, and now going under that post you grabbed, you want to do 5 double crochets. And I'll show you on a section we haven't worked yet exactly how I'm grabbing it once I get my 5 double crochets worked here. Okay, see, I have the double crochets here, and all I did was just turn it like this and grab this one here, and then I just worked on it because this side has already been worked. We're just working our way back up again on that side, which is what we just did here. We just worked our way back up again. Now that we have our loop back at the top of our project and the single double crochets that we did last round, we want to use those as an anchor for our scales. So we're going to go under that post and we're just going to slip stitch just to anchor our scale down, and it'll bring you back up to your next section where you'll be working your next scale. So going in through the first post, be working 5 double crochets, and feel free to turn it this way so it's easier to work in the direction that you're crocheting. 3, 4, and 5. Now you have your other one here still unworked. You can turn it this way now so that it's easier to work. And start working on the post of that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then again you want to anchor it onto the next post, and you want to just continue this over and over and over again until you get back up here to the beginning, and then I'll show you what to do next. So when you get back up to the beginning and you have your 1 double crochet left, instead of working around the post of the double crochet, I want you to go right into the top of the stitch and do your slip stitch there. And then chain 3, and then in the same stitch put a double crochet. This is what we call the prep row. Then chain 1. You will always be chaining 1 after your double crochets. So now you'll be working in the center of the scale that you made last round, and in the middle there's a space. You're going to be doing your double crochet and chain 1 into that space. And then the space in between, as you can see, there's your double crochet that you anchored it on. You want to find the top of that stitch, and you want to put your 2 double crochet chain 1s inside there. So I did 1 double crochet chain 1 and my 2nd double crochet and chain 1, all worked into this same stitch. Then when you come up to the crocodile stitch again, you want to put your single double crochet and chain 1 in the center. Then again, you come in between, you'll find your double crochet in the top of the stitch, and you'll work your 2 double crochet chain 1 inside that same stitch. And you want to continue this all the way around, and when you get back up to the beginning, I'll show you what you need to do next. When you get back up to the beginning again, you want to find your chain 3, and again slip stitch in the 2nd chain, not the 3rd. So I'm going to get into the 2nd chain and I'm going to slip stitch, and then you want to chain 1, and then you'll start to work your scales again the same way as you did this round. You'll be repeating the last 2 rounds over and over and over again until you have 8 rows of this crocodile stitch. And remember, it's like this. You'll have 6 if you did 24 like at the beginning chain, then you'll have 6. If you did 20, then you'll have 5 scales all the way around. But just know that since it's going diagonally, you just need to make sure that you're counting each row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When you've reached this 8th row and you have all your 8 rows done, then I'll show you how to start making your thumb. Okay, for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead. Just imagine I have my 8 rows done and I'm ready to continue. Now in the last row, as always, you slip stitch in that last double crochet. Now when you're ready, after your 8th round of scales, you want to chain 1, go right back into that same stitch and do a single crochet. And then we're going to be doing single crochets here on the top where the scales are, in the middle, and then on the other side of the scale, and then in our double crochets here where we would normally start our double, where you put the scales, our double crochet chain 1, double crochet chain 1, all worked in the same stitch. But instead we're just going to put a single crochet there. We're going to put a single crochet in each of those stitches all the way around. So we got a double crochet in our beginning, a single crochet in our beginning double crochet. Then you want to find the top of your scale here. There's a stitch underneath here, and you'll want to put a single crochet there. Then you'll want to go here in the center and put a double crochet. And then again on the other side of our scale here, go into the top stitch there and put a single crochet. Well, we're only doing single crochets this round, no double crochets. Then you'll find the next double crochet here, find that stitch and put a single crochet, and then you'll repeat that all the way around. You'll put single crochet on this top of this part of the scale, in the center, and this part of the scale, and the double crochet. Top of this scale, and then the top of the double crochet, and just continue those all the way around. And I began with 24 stitches, so I'll be ending this round with 24 stitches. So make sure that you count your stitches at the end of this round. So just continue that around and I'll see you back here when you get done. Okay, when you reach back up to the beginning, here's your stitch. Make sure to count your stitches. So this is my first double crochet and my first single crochet. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. I have my 24 stitches. So now this first single crochet of the round, you want to go ahead and do a slip stitch into it. And then you want to chain 5. We're going to be making our space for our thumb. So you chain 5 and then you want to double crochet. You skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then double crochet here in this third stitch. And then you may just want to make sure that fits your thumb, and mine does comfortably, so I'm happy with that. If you don't if you think that this is too big or something, you can reduce and do less chains. And when it comes to the pattern, when we're doing our decreases here, then just do less decreases. Just make sure that you have good sized thumb. So once you have your double crochet here, you want to go ahead and chain 1 because we're going to be starting our pattern again. So you have your double crochet here, and now you want to skip a stitch, and then the next stitch you want to do your double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1 worked into the same stitch, and then you'll skip a stitch, and then the next stitch you'll do your double crochet and chain 1. We're making our prep row again, so you skip skip one stitch, then in the next stitch you'll do your double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1 worked into the same stitch. So after your chain 5 and your first double crochet, chain 1, then you'll just continue the pattern as normal by skipping a stitch and then doing your double crochet, chain 1s in the same stitch, and then skipping a stitch, double crochet, chain 1, and you're just making your prep row again. So continue that as normal. When you get back up here to the beginning of the thumb, I'll show you what you need to do next. And when you get to the end of the row, you'll see that you have 2 stitches here on the end. It's okay, you want to go ahead and just skip those last 2 stitches, go right into that first chain of the chain 5 that we did at the beginning, and you want to do a single crochet inside that first stitch. Then in working along your chain, you want to single crochet down all of your 5 chain from last round. So I work down and put 1 single crochet in each of the chain 5 from last round. You'll also want to put a single crochet in the top of the double crochet. Now you want to go ahead and start working your scale, your first scale right here using these, and you'll continue to work the scales regular all the way around. And when you get back up here to the thumb again, I'll show you what you need to do next. Okay, when you finished your row and you're back up to your thumb here and you just did your last shell, what we're going to do is going into this first single crochet of the thumb. See, I can get a little closer here. Going into, we had our 5 single crochets from last round. We're going to go into that first single crochet and pull up a loop. Then we're going to go into the second single crochet and pull up a loop. And then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. That's a single crochet decrease. And we're going to do that one more time. Go in the next stitch, pull up a loop. Go into the next single crochet, pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Now we have 1 single crochet left of this round. And you just want to do a single crochet into the top of that. Now it brings us back up to our first double crochet. We also have a single crochet worked into the top of that. Now in this single crochet, we want to start our double crochet, chain 1, and then our double crochet and chain 1, starting the beginning of our prep round. And then in the stitches, the corner of the scales, I mean the center of the scales, double crochet, chain 1. And then of course, working in our double crochets from last round, we'll be putting our double crochet and chain 1s in there. So just continue your prep around as normal, and when you get back up here to your thumb section again, I'll show you what to do next. Okay, I've come back up here to my thumb part again, and I just did my double crochet in my last center of the scale. So you have your double here, so you want to be in this stitch, which is the stitch right after the very first single crochet decrease that you did. You want to put 2 double crochets and chain 1 into that stitch, because we're going to be making that a scale next round. And then you want to skip 1 stitch, and in the next stitch you want to put your double crochet, chain 1. And then you want to find the stitch that's in the top here, and you'll slip stitch into that stitch. Now you want to chain 1, and you're going to start your scales again as normal. Putting your 5 double crochets worked on the post. And 5. And turning, doing the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you'll anchor it like you did before, just like this, and your thumb is down here. So you're going to be doing your scales the rest of this round, and when you make it back up to here, which will be your first double crochet of the round, you don't want to anchor here, remember, you want to slip stitch right into the top of this stitch. So when you've done that, I'll see you back here. Okay, and once you make it to the beginning and you've single crocheted inside your, slip stitch into your beginning double crochet, you want to go ahead and chain 1 and go right back into that same top of that double crochet stitch that you just slip stitched into. And then you're going to go into the stitch on the top of the first scale. Then in the center of the scale, you're going to be doing your single crochet row just like you did before. Putting 1 single crochet in the top of this scale area, 1 in the middle, 1 on the top of this side scale area, and then 1 in your double crochet. And again, you should end up with 24 stitches. But it's okay if you end up with less. This is the row right before your fingers. So if you even would prefer it to be looser, then maybe next row you could do some decreases. So you want to go around and put 1 single crochet in all those places, and then I'll see you back here in a moment. Okay, when you reach back up to your very first single crochet again, you want to go ahead and just go right into it and do a single crochet. Then you'll be putting 1 single crochet in each of the single crochets from last round. And like I said, if you wanted to make it tighter, you could try to put your hand through the thumb and everything. And if you want it to be more tighter here around your hand, then go ahead and decrease. And you can even do more rows of single crochet, but I'm just going to do 1 more. This row right here is usually the last row that I do. of single crochets, but feel free if you want to do more rows of single crochet. So I'll work our way back to the beginning, and I liked to stop the stitch before the very last stitch of the round. And I'll show you what I mean when I reach back up here. Okay, this is my very first stitch of the round, so I want to back up. This is the stitch before the last stitch, which is here. So I do need to do one more. Okay, so this is my very first stitch of the round here. So I'm going to skip this very last stitch of the round and go right into the beginning single crochet and do a slip stitch there, because it just makes this part more flat. So continue and make more rows of single crochets if that's what you would prefer to do, if you want more of a front or play with other stitches. But I'm going to end mine there. So you just want to chain one and you want to cut your yarn, leaving yourself a little bit of tail here so that you can work your tail into the stitches here. I usually run it down my single crochet row, and then I'll go down these double crochets and back up again, and then keep running it down if I have more tail left down here, and then pull it. Make sure your tail isn't sticking out, cut it, and then you're done. And that's it. That's how you make the crocodile stitch fingerless gloves. And like I said, feel free to make more of a row next to your fingers if you like, and reduce the stitches if you want to make it tighter. And also, if you're more advanced, you can also do the single crochets around your thumb, make it longer if you like, which I believe I'm going to be doing that. So I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you have, please don't forget to click like, and please don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.